Welcome back, friends. Hear Me Out podcast, and we got a banger for you one time. Breaking news. How about you tell them what just happened, Franco? What did we learn 5 minutes ago from the Twitter account? What did we just find out?
Joe Biden just selected who his VP is, and it is none other than Senator Kamala Harris, who was a former presidential candidate, and she got destroyed by Tulsi Gabbard on the debate, and that was the ultimate reason for why she lost, because her record was exposed. And and we're going to get into this, but her record as a prosecutor and how she affected so many lives of Black people so negatively is just, it's so ironic for him to choose her during this political climate. What do you think, Brooks?
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, bro. Like, you got two basically feds trying to run for the office.
Yeah, the author of the '94 crime bill and the lady helped prosecuted thousands of Black people and put them on death row without any evidence.
Lord have mercy.
Oh my gosh, man!
Yes, I mean, it's a marriage. It's a marriage from hell. I mean, we'll see what happens, but.
Biden and Harris, man. Biden-Harris 2020. For those that don't know, Kamala Harris was the one who she went kind of viral by her Breakfast Club interview when she went on and claimed that she was bumping Snoop Dogg and Tupac in
the 80s
before they were even around. So we've definitely already got a couple kicks out of this lady. We see that she tries to pander unsuccessfully. And now she's being paired with the same guy who said, "You ain't Black if you don't vote for Joe Biden." So this is going to be a very interesting, like, how are they even going to go about this? Who wants to start on this? How are they going to promote themselves? What are they going to say that they're going to do together?
They're going to be like, oh, look, we have an African-American woman who's running now. Even though, what has she done for Black people besides pander?
Exactly.
You know, and there's people that come out and talk about how she's never actually had the Black experience. Her mom is Indian, her dad is Jamaican, and she didn't grow up with her dad. And her dad, he was like, I want no part of her, when she was talking about how part of Jamaican culture is like smoking weed. She's like, she said it on the Breakfast Club. She's like, I smoke weed. I'm half Jamaican. Blah, blah, blah. And her dad, this is horrible. I don't want to be associated with my daughter. She's going to be misrepresenting Jamaican culture like this. And Trump is going to be hitting her hard on this. He's going to be hitting Joe Biden hard on how he was horrible to Black people since like he started, like back in the 70s when he started being politically active.
Brooks, man, what are your thoughts on this whole Kamala Harris ex Joe Biden situation? What do you think that they're going to come out and say?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's definitely going to be just a thing where Joe Biden's going to say, he said from the beginning, I'm going to try to get a female VP, a woman VP. He hit that point, but at the same time, as someone who's going to be kind of antagonizing for voters, for a certain block of voters, people that are aware of this. And it's, like I said, it's two feds on the same ticket, and if you're aware of the issue is with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, you're not going to want to vote for him even more. And this is just more of a reason for people to understand that the Democratic Party hasn't earned our vote yet, and they have to earn our vote. They have to reverse on some things and figure out what exactly their platform is, because otherwise it could be a bad thing happening on November 3rd again.
Yeah, a lot of people speculated that it was actually going to be Elizabeth Warren, right? I was hearing Elizabeth Warren might be the VP.
They were saying Elizabeth Warren, but also Susan Rice and Kamala Harris. There was like a leak article that came out recently too. And Brooks, you brought up some great points there. I just to be a little bit fair for her, Kamala Harris isn't pushing for like $2,000 universal basic income, but I mean that's like something that we need. That's like the bare minimum that they can do for us right now. And she's doing that after she laughed at Andrew Yang for proposing UBI on the debate stage, her and Pete Buttigieg. And you got to look at her record. You got to look at who donates to her. She received the most donations from billionaires. There's a Forbes article that details that, how she received the most donations from billionaires out of any other presidential candidate. So who do you think she's going to serve? Same thing with Joe Biden. They're both going to serve the corporations. It's just changing the face. If Joe Biden becomes president and Kamala Harris is VP, that's just changing the face from Trump to Biden. The corporations are going to continue to be excelling in the system, and meanwhile, the working class people are going to continue to suffer.
Just to be fair, you know, I mean, she's a Howard University alum, and she's a part of a sorority, so there's going to be people voting for her, and like you mentioned, like the UBI stuff, and just people that's going to vote for her simply because of, you know, who she is and what she looks like. So, you know, we have to stop that, just voting for people because of the, you know, their blackness. Like, you have to deserve the vote, and when you are harming people that look like you, then I can't advocate for you at the same time.
What does this mean, though? What is Kamala Harris running as the VP with Joe Biden? What does this mean for the 2020 election? Does this change things in your guys' mind? Does it give an advantage to one side over the other?
You know, Pedro, you got me curious. I want to hear what you guys think. Like, Trump is going to say now. Do you think that he's going to expose more of Kamala Harris's record now? What are your thoughts?
Definitely.
Like, her record. Like, what do you think he's going to hit Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on the most?
You want to go on this one, Brooks?
I was going to let you go first.
Well, I mean, I'll just go right ahead and say this. I mean, I don't know specifically what he's going to hit on, but he's going to bring up anything that he can possibly bring. We mentioned about Joe Biden not being a good idea for him to go up against Trump in a debate. And if Kamala Harris has things in the closet that are easily accessible to the public or to somebody like Donald Trump, she's going to get aired out. I bet you he'll probably even bring up, you know, something like how I mentioned, like a Breakfast Club interview. Like, I don't count any of these things. I don't put any of these things past Trump mentioning to Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. But I feel like you guys would probably be able to have a better insight on the more specific things.
That was good.
On more than like specifics, but definitely, you know, I'm sure she has a lot of skeletons in the closet that we don't even know about yet, that we'll probably hear about come some type of debate.
I think
Go ahead, Brooks.
I think one thing to keep in mind is the fact that, because Trump keeps on harping on about you know, Biden being pro defund the police, and I see him continuing to try to harp that message home, despite the fact that, you know, they're very much not that at all.
Yeah.
It's not like that quote unquote socialist type of Democrat. So it's really up to Trump to try to go back to what he was in 2016 and not try to go after like the populist stuff and try to make people think he is for them when he really isn't. I mean, neither candidate is for the people, but, you know, it's about who makes a great story and who doesn't. And let's face it, Trump makes a better story.
I agree with that too, man. Joe Biden, if you just put it like story-wise, Joe Biden is taking that Obama clout all the way to the office, man. It's not going to take him that far unless he has, number one, his own personality, number two, a genuine personality, and number three, some actual good policies that'll help out people other than the corporations, like you guys are saying, or richer folk, like people like us, like middle class, working class. It's all going to be the same.
I can already see CNN and MSNBC insufferably praising Kamala Harris again, like they did back in the early stages of the primaries back in 2019, because she was predicted to be the nominee. Like, they kept pushing for her. They thought that they were going to get Kamala Harris to be the nominee, and that's why so many billionaires donated to her campaign. But again, Tulsi Gabbard happened and exposed her horrendous record, which I will advise everybody to check that out. And
we'll go ahead and drop that video right here on the video. Check it out. This is the video of Tulsi Gabbard taking down Kamala Harris.
Congresswoman Gabbard, you took issue with Senator Harris confronting Vice President Biden at the last debate. You called it a, quote, false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. What's your response?
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system. that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response,
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you were in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who were on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Senator Harris.
My entire career, I have been personally opposed to the death penalty, and that has never changed. And I dare anybody who is in a position to make that decision, to face the people I have faced, to say, I will not seek the death penalty. That is my background. That is my work. I am proud of it. I think you can judge people by when they are under fire, and it's not about some fancy opinion on a stage, but when they're in the position to actually make a decision, what do they do? When I was in the position of having to decide whether or not to seek a death penalty on cases I prosecuted, I made a very difficult decision that was not popular to not seek the death penalty. History shows that, and I am proud of those decisions.
Tulsi Gabbard taking down Kamala Harris. What do you guys think? I want to ask you one last question before we get off of this this breaking topic here. It literally happened like 15, 20 minutes ago, at 3 minutes before we started this recording. Is this something that people would look at as a moral victory, being that there's a woman of color running for the vice president of the United States?
No, 110%. Yeah.
So at least go ahead.
I'll say like it's like when McCain chose Sarah Palin as his VP. Like you got to look at the policies. Like, are they just doing it? Are they just pandering? Like, in the end, it comes down to policies. Like, are they actually going to help all African American women and all people who are suffering right now, which is working class people?